All right, let's go to new business, minimum course enrollment.
Okay, so this is kind of traditionally on our operational calendar, the first meeting of March is when, in the event, we were riffing any tenured staff, reducing in force any tenured or full-time, non-tenured staff. This is when this would occur. We're obviously not recommending it at this time. We are currently at an FTE count of 89.7, and my initial recommendation as of March 2014 is that we increase our staffing to 93.6 FTE. This will not only account for the enrollment increases that we discussed with the board in November and the projection of transfers. This will also help us with some of our initiatives directly related to the district goals. Number one is all our 9th grade core classes, math, science, English, and Western Civilization, will be staffed at a 25-to-1 rate, plus or minus 2. So that means they should be anywhere between 23 or 27-to-1. We're adding back a .4 cap reading to all the cap classes so that there's 4 academic rotations, a math, a science, an English, and a reading. Right, the last 2 years when we were working on budget reductions, we combined reading and English together and had an English teacher teaching that who's not really a traditional reading teacher or a reading expert. So by adding this reading back, that will make that class even stronger. We added a .4 for literacy coaches. That was an article I sent to the board a few weeks back. This is becoming a popular trend, literacy coaches. And what you do is you have certified reading teachers as one of their 5 classes be assigned to a core content area, and they go and specifically work with teachers in that core content area to work on nonfiction reading and reading strategies that they can use in their classes to improve the overall reading. And the way we're going to set this up is I believe it's going to be set up with Western Civ, biology, some of our health classes. And also included in the FT total is a .2 instructional technology coordinator. As I discussed with the board on a previous occasion, I'm looking to begin phasing in instructional technology support as we move closer to going to a one-to-one initiative, working specifically with teachers on how to implement technology into their classroom. So attached, you'll find a couple lists. The one that the board needs to take action on are the courses that are for board approval are below under 20. Advanced Auto 1 and 2, we are making a commitment to rebuild our autos program. We have some great facilities. So we posted a job for autos teacher on several job posting sites. We're trying to tie that in a little more with our CAD and some of our pre-engineering courses. We also have the regular English C team, AP Music Theory, AP French, German 3, 4, and AP will be all combined, and so basically 3 classes equal a total of 18 students. AP Spanish Literature, and then the CAP year-long classes. There are 4 sections, so basically 4 times 16. So we should be, it's under obviously 100 students, which is what it should be. Mr. Walsh had asked, as of right now, these are the singletons that are over the mark. It explains the numbers. You see a few of the bands and choirs are over 54 and 49. That's not too uncommon. We did talk with the music teachers in the current music department chair of, do we run another section of choir and not the AP Music Theory, and they thought it would be in the best interest to run the AP Music Theory and run the choirs at a little higher enrollment. And then the classes over the caps that have multiple sections. So this is one of those examples like child development. Technically we should take 64 kids, we have 66, so we put 2 classes of 33. And then once these courses are entered into the master schedule, there usually is some students that conflict out. Their child development will maybe be at the same time as their foreign language or their music class, and then they have to pick one or the other, and so that will help balance the class sizes. The other thing I did want to include is the singletons that are somewhat under the cap. So this will kind of show you, like, here are some of the courses that are supposed to run at ±2 that are below the cap. And then what happens is sometimes when a kid might conflict out of one of those classes that's over the cap, then you sometimes, what the counselors do is look to see if that student had their second elective choice maybe be one of these classes that's under the cap, and they can transfer into that class, and that's kind of how the whole balancing game plays. That goes on all the way through this first 10 days of the first semester into August. That's why a lot of this will change once we start doing master schedule and we start having conflicts, etc. And then right now, to give you an example, we were at similar numbers last year, and right now in the 2013-14 school year, we only have 3 classes that are over the cap, and those are the 3 classes. So that's just some informational items, additional information items for the board. The key ones that we need action on tonight are the ones that are under 20, and that's the first 6 or 7 classes listed on that page.
Any questions for Kevin?
I have 2 questions, Kevin. On a class like AP Chemistry, where you're at 28, don't we have a certain number of positions in the labs for a class like Chemistry?
We have 27 stations.
That's what I thought.
But what will sometimes happen is, like with an AP Chemistry, the trends, the counselors know the trends, so we'll put 28 in there, and we usually
Somebody won't.
will drop within,
Okay.
even before they start the course, just saying
Okay.
that's too much on my,
And-
or they're in the first week or 2.
And how about, well, actually, how about a class like Honors Symphonic Band where, some of them, they're not that much over, but you got one that's 14, it's, like 30%, almost 40% over the size that we intended.
Right, so we're over by about 12 kids. Now, we have to see if there's any conflicts that will
Okay.
help lower that number. But that's one of those large classes, like we only have so many sections of marching band or symphonic band.
Mhm.
So if we split that into 2, now you'd have, 2 sections of 27, which would be significantly below the cap.
Okay.
So do we pay, so that's where if we really wanted to push on that, I would probably say, hey, we're not going to bring AP Music Theory.
Mhm.
Let's do another section of band, or let's do another section of that choir.
But
So that's how we try to talk with those teachers, because it's also somewhat hard to go out and find a .2 part-time band teacher that would maybe come in to
Right.
do 1 class a day.
Right. The other, I should have said I have 2 sets of questions. The other one is, I know that you worked with Pam and the administration to come up with where you thought the best places to put staff that would help with our goals and help the students. But if you take the 2 items, the .4 on literacy coaches and the .2 on instructional technology coordinator, how does you or the principal or whichever assistant principal is over them, know that we're actually getting the bang for our buck there? I mean, especially when it's, in both cases, they're a new concept for us, right?
I think the literacy coaches you had prior to this,
Right,
correct?
we did that, yeah. Well, they're connected to specific classes, and they have specific goals they're supposed to achieve
Oh, okay.
for those classes. So,
Could you give us an example of the
sure,
goal
they
they're supposed
sometimes
to
go in
achieve?
and work with them on teaching a lesson, and they observe how the teachers are using the concepts and strategies and giving them feedback. They'd be going into their learning communities. They'd be sometimes they were doing what the literacy teachers did before, is they did training videos. So there were people that were overseeing them, so making sure that they were accountable for their time. But it's a great program because they can give that one-on-one assistance in the classroom for teachers, not just meeting with them on their prep periods, but they'll have something to do every day that they're accountable for.
And we'll also
Build a
use them,
schedule.
I thought, for RTI interventions when we have student reading scores from
Right.
data interpretation.
Okay.
Yeah,
help
so
with
if
some
a
of that.
student, they can push in and work with individual students who are not making the progress that they want. That's another way that you can use a literacy coach. Maybe you have a student who's right on the line and not, we're not going to put them in extended period reading, but maybe they need a little bit of extra work to get their score up. So when you can they can progress monitor those individual kids who are struggling.
So the way this process works is when the students are all done picking classes and computer spits out how many kids sign up for each section, Pam and Kristen and the leadership council meet and they discuss a list of different interventions they think they need above and beyond. And I think this year they had something like 1.3 or 1.5 FTE in interventions. And then we looked to see where I projected for the board. And then we tried to save an additional 1 or 2 sections for emergency come summer if we get an influx of transfers in an area we didn't suspect. And then I try to accommodate the interventions the building administration is requesting. So this year, if you basically add it up, we should have been right around what I projected, which was about 92.3. We would have been at 92.6, and then we gave an additional 1.0 of interventions to try to help meet the goals.
So we've added 3.9 FTEs this next school year. Is that a good statement?
Correct.
All right. Okay, any other questions for Kevin? All right, do I have a motion, please?
Resolved that the Board of Education, Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois, hereby approves in accordance with District Policy 6:31, minimum course enrollment, the list of courses for the 2014-15 school year with projected enrollment below 20 students based on the current student enrollment data as presented in the March 11, 2014 Board Agenda Packet.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mike Welch. Any other discussion? Mary Ann?
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Welch?
Yes.
Mr. Gretchen?
Yes.
Mr. Jepson?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Cindy?
Yes. All right, we're going to be going into closed session where we'll discuss personnel issues, student discipline, sale or lease of land, and litigation. At this time, is there any visitors' comments on this side of the room? Any visitors' comments on that side of the room? Do I have a motion to go into closed session?
Resolved that the Board of Education, Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois, enters closed session for the purpose of considering appointment, employment, or dismissal of employees, student discipline, sale or lease of land, and litigation.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ed Jepson. Mary Ann?
Mr. Welch?
Yes.
Mr. Gretchen?
Yes.
Mr. Jepson?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Welch?
Yes.
Mr. Cindy?
Yes. All right, we'll see you. You can shut it off. Have a good night. Thank you.